phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
What do YouTube? Buechele back again with another banger video, and in today's video, y'all, I am going to be talking about the 2015 Elite 11 class. Where are they now? This is part 3 of the series. I will leave parts 1 and part 2 in the description down below, and comment what year you want to see next. Before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 10K. Now, let's get into it. The first Elite 11 finalist I will be talking about in today's video is Anthony Russo. In this class, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, he was a 3-star recruit, the 655th best player in the nation, and the 25th best pro-style quarterback. He would end up going to Temple. Anthony Russo would spend a total of 5 seasons at Temple, as he redshirted as a true freshman in 2016, was a backup in 2017, and in 2018, he was the team's main starter. And in that season, in 11 games played, he completed 57% of his passes, threw for 2,563 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. He was the full-time starting quarterback in 2019, and in 13 games played, he played a lot better than 2018. In this season, he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 2,861 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He was expected to take a huge leap in his game in 2020, but he would only play in 3 games due to injury. But in this season, he completed 68% of his passes, threw for 868 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. After this season, he would transfer to Michigan State with his final year of eligibility for the 2021 season, where he's currently a backup quarterback. Next up, we have Shea Buechele. In this class, Shea Buechele ranked as a 4-star recruit, the 182nd best player in his class, and the number 3 dual-threat quarterback. He was also voted as the best leader at the Elite 11 finals for this class, and he would end up going to Texas. Shane would be a Longhorn for a total of 2 seasons, and his career got off to a very promising start as a Longhorn, as he was the starting quarterback his freshman season, and in 12 games played, he had 60% of his passes completed, threw for almost 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns through the air, and only 11 interceptions. In 2017, he was splitting time, as he did have some injuries, but they were slight, but he would end up eventually just splitting time pretty much all together with Sam Ehlinger, and in this season, he completed 64% of his passes, threw for 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. In 2018 for Texas, he would redshirt as he played in 2 games, and he was the backup quarterback to Sam Ehlinger. After this season, he would announce he would be transferring to SMU. At SMU, he was their starting quarterback, and he balled out the 2 seasons he was there, as he completed 64% of his passes, threw for 7,024 yards, 57 touchdown passes thrown, and only 16 interceptions. Despite being a good quarterback at SMU, it was not good enough for him to be drafted in the 2021 NFL Draft. After going undrafted, he would sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he's currently on their practice squad. On to the next player, we have Brandon Mcllwain, who ranked as a 4-star recruit, the number 2 dual-threat quarterback, and ranked as the 175th best player in the nation. He would end up going to South Carolina. He would play quite a bit as a true freshman at South Carolina, as in 8 games played, he would complete 52% of his passes, throw for 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, as well as 2 touchdowns on the ground. But after losing his job to Jake Bentley, he would enter the portal and go to Cal. He would have to sit out the 2017 season due to transfer rules, but once 2018 came, he could officially play at Cal. He would only play in the 2018 season for Cal, and in this season he did struggle quite a bit, as in 10 games played, completing 62% of his passes, he threw for 763 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. After this season, he ultimately decided to focus on his baseball career, and that would work out for him so far, as he had a good college baseball career at Cal, that would lead him to be drafted in the 2019 MLB Draft in the 26th round by the Miami Marlins. He is currently in the single-A system for the New York Mets. Next up, we have Dwayne Haskins, who ranked as a top 100 player in the nation as the 91st best player and the 7th best pro-style quarterback, and he would end up going to Ohio State. Dwayne Haskins would not really see a bunch of playing time at Ohio State until his redshirt sophomore season in 2018, where he was the starting quarterback. In that season, he was great. In 14 games played, he completed 70% of his passes, threw for 4,831 yards, 50 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. He would finish third in Heisman voting this season and declare his name for the 2019 NFL Draft, where he was picked up by the Washington football team in the first round, 15th overall selection. Haskins for Washington didn't really meet any expectations that he had upon him as their first round pick, especially as a starting quarterback of their team. In the 2 seasons he played for Washington, he played in 16 games, started in 13 of them, had a 3-10 starting quarterback record, completed 60% of his passes, threw for 2,804 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. He is currently with the Pittsburgh Steelers as their backup quarterback for 2021, and you might be wondering, why is he with the Steelers now? Did he get traded? No, he got released during the 2020 NFL season because of maturity issues, and the Redskins were straight up sick of him. On to the next guy, we have Jarrett Guarantano, who ranked as a 4-star recruit, the 79th best player in the nation, and the #1 dual-threat quarterback. He would end up taking his talents to Tennessee. Guarantano would be at Tennessee for a total of 5 seasons, including a redshirt season in 2016. Now, in his career there, he is what I would say was a very on and off quarterback. In his career, he completed 61% of his passes, threw for 6,174 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. After the 2020 campaign, he would enter his name into the transfer portal, where he would end up transferring to Washington State. Going into 2021 for Washington State, he was the starting quarterback, but after sustaining an injury in their first week game, he has not taken the starting quarterback position back so far, and in this season, he has completed 67% of his passes, 304 total yards of passing, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. On to the next quarterback, we have Brandon Peters. In this class, he was a 4-star recruit, the 61st best player in the nation, and the #6 pro-style quarterback. He would end up committing to Michigan. He would spend 3 seasons at Michigan, including a redshirt season as a true freshman in 2016. His entire time there, however, he was the backup quarterback, and after 2018, he would transfer from Michigan to Illinois. So far in his career with the Fighting Illini, he has been a primary starter for that quarterback position of theirs when he is healthy. So far in his career at Illinois, he has completed 53% of his passes, thrown for 2,723 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Currently in 2021, he has dealt with some injury issues and has not exactly been the main quarterback for Illinois this season. On to the next one, we have Feleipe Franks, who ranked as a 4-star recruit, the #54 player, and the #5 pro-style quarterback in this class, and he would end up committing to Florida. He would spend a total of 4 seasons at Florida, including a redshirt season in 2016 as a true freshman. As a redshirt freshman in 2017, in the 11 games he played in, he started in 8 of them, and he was very on and off, but he did show some promise here and there. In 2018, he was the full-time starter, and he had a really good season as he threw for 2,457 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, as well as 7 total touchdowns on the ground. He had a lot of hype heading into the 2019 season, and he was not off to the best start that people were expecting him to, but unfortunately, his Florida football career would end with a dislocated ankle, as after the 2019 season, he would enter the portal and announce his transfer to Arkansas. In his lone season at Arkansas, he had a pretty good season for, I would say, in Arkansas quarterback standards, and him coming off a major ankle injury. In 9 games played, he threw for 2,107 yards, completing 69% of his passes, throwing for 17 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. In the 2021 NFL Draft, he would go undrafted, but he is currently with the Atlanta Falcons. Next up, we have Malik Henry, who ranked as a 4-star recruit, the 49th best player in the nation, and the number 4 pro-style quarterback, and he would end up going to Florida State. He would spend one season at Florida State where he did not appear in a single game, and he had some issues with the team and was even suspended at one point in the season. After this lone season, he would end up transferring to the JUCO level as he went to Independence Community College and would be featured on Last Chance U Season 3 and Season 4. After his time at Independence Community College, he would get his next shot in college football at Nevada. He would play in 3 games at Nevada in 2019, and in those 3 games, he completed 54% of his passes, threw for 593 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. After that season, however, he would leave Nevada and be on the move again, and things were pretty quiet as nobody really knew what he was going to do, but he is now currently in the Indoor Football League with the Frisco Fighters. On to the next guy, we have KJ Costello, who ranked as the 47th best player in the nation, a 4-star recruit, and the number 3 pro-style quarterback. He would end up going to Stanford. Costello would be at Stanford for a total of 4 seasons, and he was a pretty good quarterback there, especially when he was fully healthy. In his career at Stanford, he completed 63% of his passes, threw for 6,151 yards, 49 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. His best season was when he threw for 3,540 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. In his last season at Stanford, he had a series of injuries that kept him sidelined, and he only played in 5 games. After 2019, he would enter the transfer portal and go to the signature Mike Leach air raid offense and join Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, he did get banged up a little bit, but he was still a pretty disappointing quarterback, especially after his first start versus LSU, in which he had a huge game. In 6 games played in 2020, he completed 64% of his passes, threw for 1,283 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. After the down season in 2020, he would go undrafted in the 2021 NFL Draft, but shortly thereafter, in August, he was picked up by the Chargers, but was only on the team for 2 weeks before being waived. As quarterback, we have Jacob Eason. In this class, he was a 5-star recruit, the number 5 player in the nation, and the number 2 pro-style quarterback. He would end up committing to Georgia. Jacob Eason, when he came to Georgia, was the starting quarterback as a true freshman, and in 13 games played, he was pretty solid for a true freshman quarterback playing in the SEC. Now, it's not the best numbers ever, but he was still a solid quarterback all around, as he completed 55% of his passes, threw for 2,430 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He was the starting quarterback heading into 2017, but after injuring his knee in Week 1, Jake Fromm would be the starting quarterback, and he would run away with the job, and Jacob Eason never got it back. And after that season, he would transfer to Washington. After having to sit a season out for 2018, he was the starting quarterback for Washington in 2019, and in 13 games played, he did not disappoint as he completed 64% of his passes, threw for 3,132 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. After this season, he would declare his name for the 2020 NFL Draft, where he was taken by the Colts in the 4th round. With the Colts, he was a 3rd-string quarterback in 2020, and during the 2021 season, he was waived, and he's now currently with the Seattle Seahawks. The final guy I am going to be talking about in today's video was the Elite 11 Finals MVP for this class, and that was none other than 5-star recruit, the number 4 player in the nation, and number 1 quarterback in this class, in Shea Patterson. He would end up committing to Ole Miss. Shea Patterson would play in a total of 10 games in his career at Ole Miss. He played in 3 in his true freshman season, and he was the starting quarterback after the starting quarterback Chad Kelly tore his ACL. In 2017, Shea Patterson was the guy for Ole Miss, and he was QB1. He would play in 7 games in this season as the starting quarterback, where he completed 64% of his passes, threw for 2,259 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, but he would end his season on a torn PCL, and that would be the end of his career at Ole Miss, as he would transfer to Michigan during the 2018 college football offseason, due to all the NCAA violations Ole Miss had at the time. For the 2 years of remaining eligibility that he had, he would be QB1 for Michigan for 2 straight seasons. And in those seasons, he completed 60% of his passes, threw for 5,661 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. He would not hear his name called in the 2020 NFL Draft, and he would end up getting picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs as an undrafted free agent, but he was waived in July. Since then, he has played in the Spring League, and he's currently with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. If you guys have made it this far in the video, leave down any future video suggestions and a future Elite 11 class year you want to see next. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. Be Kelly out.